Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Inside the Mind, a podcast about athletes. Today's guest is Jibreel Hazly, who is a football standout at Florida A&M and is also an XFL draft invitee. But before I get into it, roll the intro. Taking the time to do this. One thing that I kind of wanted to start off with asking you, because I thought it was quite interesting, and it's not really typical for collegiate level athletes, is that you only started playing football in your senior year of high school. So
Right,
how did you make that switch to football so late into your teen years?
Well, basically, it wasn't really that hard of a switch. I was always athletic. I played basketball. That was my first sport I loved, and I took a chance on I was like, I'm child football, and my senior year was the only year I was ever eligible grade wise
Mm-hmm.
because my beginning of my high school career, I was just being a kid doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then I ended up turning it around, thinking about my brother, my future. So, but yeah, I tried out, played football my senior year, and did great. And that's how it all started.
Yeah. So playing football was something that you've always thought about doing, or was it kind of only for a year or two before that?
No, I always thought about it.
Always, eh?
Always.
Yeah. What was it like kind of stepping onto the field for the first time? Because a football field is a lot different than, a basketball court or something. It's a lot more, there's guys hunting for your head out there. I know you're playing defense and you're going for the other guy's head. So even that's a bit of a more of a mental adjustment compared to a sport like basketball, kind of.
Yeah, man. In basketball, I played point guard, and I was real big on defense. So like, whoever was the best player, I wanted to guard. So like, it transferred over to football good because I was physical already, and I was already kind of big and fast. So um, switching over to football wasn't really that difficult. And as far as the mind frame, yeah, you definitely got to have a different mindset because at first I didn't like having to go tackle people and all that because especially senior year in high school, that's a big jump. You've been playing a long time, so um, I guess I was just built for it, man. I just love contact and I love being physical and
Hmm.
dominating.
And obviously, with contact and physicality comes injuries. And being on the defensive side of the ball, you're usually the one, injuring others. So when you say you lay a big hit on somebody and somebody gets injured, what kind of goes through your head when look back and you see that they're hurt down on the ground or something?
Um, you know, the nature of the game is to hit hard. I'm trying to punish somebody out there, but I never want to see nobody hurt. So people, people, people live their life through football sometimes. So when I see somebody get hurt, it's like I hope they get up. I never like, oh yeah, I'm always like, I hope they get up, hope they finish the game, because it's a game at the end of the day, and I want the best for everybody. So.
Hmm. Does that kind of ever creep into the back of your mind when you're on the field that maybe, kind of involuntarily you might let up here or there just not to hurt somebody? Or does that ever kind of stay in the back of your mind when you're lining up? Because when I played football in high school, I mean, I played on the offensive side, but kind of thinking about if I were to play defense, I would probably be a bit more kind of anxious maybe in making those big hits. That's just me though. And it's probably just a lot about kind of just going through it and realizing that this is the game and everybody kind of signs up for this.
Right. Um, yeah. So when I see opportunity to hit somebody real hard, I'm gonna hit them like as hard as I can, and because they signed up for it. If you step on the field with me, that's what you asked for. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give
Hmm.
it to you.
Yeah.
So, but I don't play dirty. Like I know I've been on some few teams with like players, try to twist ankles, and I don't do none of that.
Right.
I discourage that, but if I get a big hit or opportunity to make a play on you, I'm gonna make the play.
Yeah. How do you feel about, I know in the NFL the past couple of years, they've really kind of shifted the penalties and what they're calling into, I guess, favoring the offense. I know, I think it was last year when they started doing the new roughing the passer calls. There's a couple instances that I remember where, they were just like clean hits on the quarterback, but they're trying to protect the quarterback and try to avoid even those clean hits, I guess, to promote scoring in some way. What are your kind of thoughts when you see that happen on the NFL stage?
Uh, I think it's kind of. I think it goes both ways. It just depends on how you look at it. Football nowadays is an offensive game, so they all want to see points and big plays, for the fans and stuff like that. So I mean, but on the other side of it, I think it's kind of corny. I feel like you should let everybody play football. I mean, they signed up to get hit. Like I
Hmm.
feel like it make it easier on the offense. You can't really hit the quarterback. They can. It's like 7-on-7 almost. So I don't really too much dig
Yeah,
the new rule.
right. Talk me a bit about how you kind of ended up at Florida A&M. Um, did they, come after you or your senior year? Did you kind of send your videos out to them, or how did you guys link up?
Well, when I got done with high school, I was originally supposed to go to the University of Akron and
Okay.
play there for Coach Bowden.
Hmm.
But my grades were not up to par because, as I told you before, how the beginning of my high school career, I wasn't like real big on my grades, so I ended up having to go to a junior college, and I went to like I want to say I went to three junior colleges. So I went to one in Iowa, California, and Arizona. So, but yeah, I went there, played football. I redshirted my freshman year in Iowa. Then I went and played my sophomore year in Arizona. No, I went to my bad. I went to Arizona and played my freshman year. Then my sophomore year, I played in California, and
Hmm.
then I picked up a lot of offers, and I was leaning to go to New Mexico State, but the coach from Florida A&M, Coach Wood, Alex Wood, came and flew in to see me at my junior college, and he flew me into Florida A&M, and I liked the whole vibe and the whole coaching staff, and so I picked them.
Hmm. Um, was it a tough decision to make given that Florida A&M is an FCS school, and then New Mexico State's in the FBS? Did that kind of maybe make it a harder decision than you anticipated?
Yeah, that was really the main part of it because I didn't FCS is a lower level school, so I was like and but the thing was Florida A&M, they were playing a couple big FBS schools and playing schools on their level, so it was like I can have film against both. So
Right.
I was like, okay, that's cool.
Right. And I would assume that the playing time would have been a lot more, I guess, guaranteed at an FCS school compared to an FBS school. And that, again, just gives you a lot more opportunity to create, highlight films and make big plays and then get noticed by other people.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I was like, out of these two schools, you actually look at the depth chart where you're gonna be when you come in, and what Florida A&M, I would have came in as the starter, so I
Hmm.
picked them.
How hard was it to travel across the country away from your family, kind of going from junior college to junior college? Was there ever a point where you thought that maybe um, this maybe wasn't the right path, given that you were kind of away from home all the time? Or does that not really, deter you from going to your ultimate goal?
Uh, at first, it's kind of like you scared to leave home and be gone for that long of a period of time. But then the other hand, it's like you get to travel. I met new people, so I wasn't really worried about that. I missed my family, but I had a goal in mind, so that's all I really. That's what kept me going forward.
Mhm. One interesting thing that I think that a lot of athletes would struggle about, just going back to your grade situation. I think a lot of athletes would have a hard time kind of getting out of maybe you know, a sad mood or a depression kind of state of mind in that situation, kind of being hard on themselves for that. How did you kind of keep yourself focused on your goal and not kind of beat yourself up over what happened with your grades?
Um, Cause well, at the end of the day, I just took responsibility and looked myself in the mirror and said, I messed up, and I know how to make it right. And I had so many big dreams and goals that was obtainable in my opinion. So I just went after it and
Mhm.
didn't look back.
Mhm. One thing that I thought was pretty cool that you got to take part in was the Senior Bowl. I assume that was like the FCS version of the Senior Bowl.
Right.
How is that? How did that, or how is that different compared to a regular season game during the season? Did the nerves kind of creep in a bit more for that game? Did you kind of feel maybe more of the bigger stage?
Yeah, definitely. Because all week we had practice all week leading up to the game, and it was so many NFL and CFL scouts and AAF scouts. It was a lot of scouts there
Hmm.
watching everything you did from on the field to how you interact with other people when they talk to you. They wanted to hear how you talk and spoke, and so yeah, basically, the whole week was just intense, and then the game really made it intense because you going out there, you really don't know plays that well because y'all ain't really practiced but a week, so it was very intense and but it was an amazing experience.
Hmm. Even though it was intense and you kind of felt a bit anxious or nervous or whatever term, how did you personally kind of stay grounded and kind of perform to the best of your ability? Because I feel like for a lot of athletes, they have, anxiety performing on a big stage. They're okay, performing in front of the regular hometown crowd or whatever. But as soon as they get to a more national stage, the kind of, for some athletes, it all falls apart. How did you personally kind of persevere through that? Was there any strategies or anything in your mind that you kind of worked through?
Um, yeah, basically, the key to that, at least in my opinion, is confidence. Just believing in yourself and believing in your ability and knowing that you're there for a reason. And being there for a reason let you know that you got the ability to be there or you wouldn't be there. So I really you just gotta have confidence. Keep telling yourself, you belong. Um, and vision yourself making plays. Um, and really, that's all I ever did was just believe everything, believe myself, and that's all. That's all I can say on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that I saw that you're from Akron, which is obviously the hometown of LeBron James. How much of a role model is he to athletes from Akron, and what are some of the real mental aspects of the game that you pick up from him that you apply to the football fields?
He a real big inspiration. I met him a few times. I kind of know him a little bit, but he definitely. We all see how hard he works and where he came from, and which is similar to places we come from because we're from the same neighborhood. So, and I seen everything he had to deal with, and to see where he at now is just amazing, and it lets you know that everything is possible with hard
Hmm.
work.
Hmm. When did you meet him? Because that's pretty cool. I feel like if I had met LeBron James at some point, I would not even know what to say to him. I would just be so in awe that this guy that's almost a whole foot taller than me is just staying over me, and he's one of the most famous athletes ever.
I met him. I met him a couple times. I met him when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school. I seen him a lot, and I actually got invited to one of his basketball camps,
Hmm.
and I think I was in like the seventh grade or sixth grade. I got invited to one of his basketball camps when I was a hooper. So Yeah, he's pretty cool, man. He's a real cool dude, real down to
Yeah.
earth.
Yeah. Um, Going back to the basketball, was there, what kind of made you not want to play basketball anymore? Was it, just you kind of lost the love for the game? Did you kind of realize maybe this isn't where I could go pro? What was your motivation for that switch over?
It was kind of both.
Hmm.
Um, in high school, the long seasons, it was too many games, and I just didn't have fun really. And on top of that, I was like 6 foot 6'1". I knew I had to be a lot taller to go pro in basketball. You know what I'm saying? Or just be super good. So I was like, I got a better chance at football.
Interesting. Yeah. I think that's a hard thing for athletes to do, to kind of look themselves in the mirror and admit that, what they're doing right now isn't the best for them, and maybe something else is better out there for them. What kind of tips would you give to other athletes that maybe are struggling to put their foot forward? And I think for a lot of athletes too, they feel pressure from other people to kind of stay in their sport, maybe because their parents or their coaches want them to stay. So what kind
Right.
of advice would you give to other athletes that are going through maybe that similar situation?
Um, I would tell those other athletes to just be themselves. You know your best foot forward. Like it's only one you. Nobody else is in your shoes, and you the only one that got to walk in your shoes. So I would say, if you're not feeling it, or you don't feel like you can be better at it, or you lost the love for it, but you feel pressured by your peers or your family members to just sit down and say, hey, like, let them know, man, this ain't what I want to do, or just be yourself. Just do what you want to do. Don't don't let nobody influence your decision on your life because it's only your life.
Yeah. Do you think that there will be a point in time where that kind of happens with you in football, or do you kind of have maybe a time reference of when you think you might reach that point, or are you just taking it day by day right now and in really just focusing on the goal?
Um, right now I got a lot of stuff coming up, so like I still got opportunities on opportunities, but like I know it's gonna be a day that I'm not able to play football anymore, and until then, I'm just taking it day by day and thinking of business ventures and stuff like that. But right now, it's day by day.
Hmm. What's your training schedule looking like right now? I know I saw that you got some invites. I know I think you're up at the CFL here at the BC Lions at one point. Um, so what's kind of your training schedule going forward to kind of get back to that level, to the professional tryouts and getting on a pro team?
Well, I work out and train 2 times a day, every day.
Hmm.
Um, I take the weekends off usually. Um, so basically, that's what I do. I gotta stay ready because my opportunity can come at any time. I'm
Hmm.
I'm right now in the XFL
Hmm.
draft, which is on the 13th, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also got some NFL teams in the works of working me out and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to stay prepared and keep my head right and in the right place.
Thanks, guys, again for checking out this episode. If you enjoyed any part of it, please share it with your friends and family, and I'll speak to you next time.